Hey guys, I wanted to make this video. I told you guys that I was ready to kind of tell my story and kind of, explain what led me to the path that I ended up on and how bad it really got. I want to talk about a couple of different things. I want to talk about how I got to the point that I was. I want to talk about what really led up to me starting that behavior many years ago. I also want to talk about your questions that you posed to me on Twitter about, my recovery, eating disorders, and I don't want to go too much into depth about my actual eating disorder habits and the way I operated within that behavior. And you'll come to understand why more in the video, but basically because I don't want to trigger anyone, and also because I don't want anyone who is really bad or off or really sick to look at my video, see me talking about those such things, and then take that in turn in the wrong light and use it as advice on how to further hurt themselves rather than, seeing it as something to help them. So I don't want that to happen. And I just really think it's time for me to really get my story out there. So let's start off. Let me get some water here. So I've always had a problem with self-confidence, self-image. As early as I can remember, I always thought I was fat. I wasn't a really skinny, one of the stick pole girls, growing up, elementary school. I was a little bit chunkier, I had some curves. I'd gain some weight and be a little bit chunkier, and then, I'd exercise and, I'd lose it all. And that was just, my natural, healthy body weight, puberty growing up. But I was picked on because I was different. I grew up in a small town, very, very small, southern town, St. George, South Carolina. It's a really beautiful place, and, it's really quiet, and there really are some really great people there. It's just that there's a lot of older southern families there. And so when we moved there when I was 3, we were kind of the outcast. Our family hadn't been there for, 75 plus years, So, I was an only child. So I was kind of, picked on, shoved to the side because I was an outsider, I was different. And so, my parents were different than a lot of the people out there. So that started at a young age. I did have I did have a lot of friends, very good friends growing up. In fact, my best friend, I met her in kindergarten. And, her family was like my family was like her family. We were always together, you never saw us apart. And, she was really skinny, she ate, she didn't have a problem or anything. She was just naturally really skinny. And, guys started paying attention to her in about 4th or 5th grade, and that's not her fault. I never blamed her, but I was always envious because I saw it as, guys were paying attention to her, and, no one picked on her, and everybody wanted to be her friend. And, I thought in my head, because I wasn't self-confident, it was because she was skinny. So that kind of And it wasn't just her. A lot of my other friends were really, really skinny too. And so that kind of gave me the idea that, hey, I'm different than my friends and I get picked on. And so I thought it was because of my weight and my size.